Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make her the cutest that I've ever seen. Hey, 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 hey. What is going on, Spooky Gang? It is your boy Tech, and the beautiful month of October is finally here. And I'm sure all of you are already indulging in the festivities for the month of October. And hopefully you already started watching some of the 15 movies that I already released that you should be watching for your 31 days of horror. And so in this video, we are back at it, and I'm giving you the last 16 movies that you should be watching this month. So that way that you're set up with a complete list of 31 movies that'll really set your October off. All right, Spooky Gang, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it. So the first movie of the next 16 movies that you should be watching this month is an absolute banger in the movie It Follows. It Follows is a movie that I truly love, and it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And just to give you a quick little synopsis on this movie, a young woman is followed by an unknown supernatural force after a sexual encounter. When this movie first dropped, it was one of the more interesting and creative ideas for a horror movie, and so that's what intrigued me. And then once you actually watch the movie, that's what really got me to stay and make me love it and have it be one of my favorite movies of all time. It is one of the only movies that at this point can still sort of creep me out and have me feeling some level of unsettled. So I absolutely love this, and if I love this and I'm putting my stamp on this, then you know that this movie is real. The next movie that you should be watching this October is the movie Oculus. Oculus is one of the more early Flanagan movies, and I think he did a very solid job here. Given a synopsis on this movie, a recently released inmate from a mental asylum learns from his sister that the murder he was convicted of committing was actually orchestrated by a supernatural entity. This movie is also very creative as well. Kind of gives you shades of what you might have saw in The Conjuring: The Last Rites, with being sort of a mirror thing as well. But the perspective on the way that they do this movie is completely different, and came out way back in like 2013. So 100% recommend that you give this movie a shot. It is one of the more scary movies on this list. The next movie that you should be watching this October is the infamous Creepshow. Everybody who knows me and has been following this channel knows that I have an affinity for Creepshow, specifically Creepshow 2, and it is essentially an anthology series. So there'll be 3 unrelated stories that sort of tie into this wraparound story. In Creepshow 2, all 3 of the stories are great. I've talked about this movie before, so I'm not gonna go too far into it, but if you have not seen the classic Creepshow 2 from the 80s, you absolutely should. The next movie that you should be watching on your October watch list is the movie The Night of the Living Dead. And the reason why you should be watching this is because it is 100% a classic and pretty much is like the founding father movie of the zombie sort of virus outbreak genre. It still really holds up to today's standards. So 100% should watch that. And if you're gonna call yourself a horror fan and you haven't seen Night of the Living Dead, then you ain't a real horror fan. The next movie/movies that you should be watching this October is the Universal classic monster movies. With these movies, I think it's sort of a rite of passage, kind of similar to Night of the Living Dead. They're not as integral as Night of the Living Dead, but I think that they still, because they're such early horror movies, you know, at least watch one of them. Like, are you familiar with who Bela Lugosi is? Are you familiar with Lon Chaney and Lon Chaney Jr.? Are you familiar with Boris Karloff, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Are you familiar, you know, like all of these things? Like, I feel like every horror fan needs to at least experience one of them, just so, you know, like I said, it's like a rite of passage. So it's just something that you would check off your list as a horror fan. The next movie/movies that you should be watching this October is the Hostel franchise. The Hostel series of movies is one of my favorites as well. If you're sort of into movies that are geared around torture, so these movies aren't exactly like Saw, but if you are a fan of Saw and you want to see something a little more fun and mindless as opposed to being really overly thought-provoking and some elaborate story, then the Hostel franchise is definitely for you. Definitely a much more fun franchise, and one that I enjoy watching pretty much all the time. The next movie that you should be watching on your October watch list is the movie Day of the Dead. Like I said before, I'm a sucker for zombie virus outbreak movies. This movie sort of falls right in line with that. So you have Night of the Living Dead, then you have Day of the Dead, there's Return of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead. You know, all of these movies, I'm just a big fan of it, and Day of the Dead is one of the best out of all of those. And I 100% recommend it if you're really big into the zombie type movies. The next movie that you should be watching, and I'm gonna go ahead straight up tell you, and it might be providing some spoilers for later on down the line for a video that I might have, but you should absolutely be watching this banger from this year, which is the movie Weapons. Weapons, I love everything about Weapons. I love how dark it is. I love some of the comedic moments. I love the way it's shot. I love the ending, which a lot of people are sort of 50-50 on. To me, one of like the more perfect, entertaining movies that you could ever watch. Just to give a quick synopsis on this movie, when all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanish on the same night at exactly the same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. Seeing how the whole town is struggling with the fact that, you know, their kids are missing, and they're thinking that because they all came from the same class that this teacher, Miss Gandy, has something to do with it. And then the fact that the movie's shot in non-linear fashion, it just, all that culminates into just such a great movie for this year, and honestly one of the best from the past 5 years. And speaking of one of the best from the past 5 years, the next movie that you should be watching for your October 31 Days of Horror is the movie Sinners. This is another banger from this year. It came out somewhere around in April. A lot of the same things that I say about Weapons, I can say about this movie. I don't quite enjoy it as much as I enjoy Weapons, but from a technical aspect and how good and how much of a quality horror movie this is, there's nothing really else for me to say. And Michael B. Jordan pretty much crushes his roles. And giving a quick synopsis on this movie, trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. This movie is fun. It has a lot of cultural impact, and it's just one of those bangers that you absolutely should be watching this October. And I think you could catch this movie on HBO Max, so if you do get a chance, go ahead and do it. The next movie that you should be watching this October is the movie The Substance. This movie was a spectacle from last year and is one of the better body horror movies that you can watch. Given a synopsis on this movie, a fading celebrity takes a black market drug, a cell-replicating substance that helps her create a younger, better version of herself. If you're a big fan of body horror and stylized horror, then this is pretty much the movie for you. Some of the shots and the cinematography to performances from Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, I mean, you really just can't beat this. The next movie that you should be watching this October is The Autopsy of Jane Doe. And the synopsis of this movie is exactly what the title is just an autopsy and another body horror movie, but it has a little bit of mystery element to it because as they're doing the autopsy, they're trying to figure out her cause of death, how it happened, the whole nine, and the whole movie is just literally centered around that. So definitely a banger, and once again, if you love body horror movies, then this is the movie for you. The next movie that you should be watching this October is The Crazies, and I'm talking about the remake from 2010, I believe it was. I love everything about this movie. This movie is also one of the zombie virus outbreak movies, but I think that this is one of the most entertaining and like best overall entertainment value. Time you sit down to watch it to the time the movie ends, there is no drags. There is no, this part was a little slow, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, it hits all of its points very well, and it's just a movie that I can throw on any time. And given a quick synopsis on this one, after a strange and insecure plane crash, an unusual toxic virus enters a quaint farming town. A young couple is quarantined, but they fight for survival along with help from a couple of people. Like I said, this movie is just good and is a banger that you should throw on anytime. The next movie that you should be watching this October is the movie Trick or Treat. This movie was on the list last year. It's on the list this year, and it's probably going to be on the list next year. It's just a Halloween staple. There's no reason why you should be watching all these different horror movies and you never get around to watching Trick or Treat, because it is literally a perfect representation of what Halloween horror movies should be like. The fact that it's an anthology movie, so once again, kind of similar to Creepshow in a way, not shot in the same style, but it's 3 different stories, so it's just 3 different people's perspective on the same Halloween night. That's sort of how the movie goes, and it is a banger 100% and is a must watch for this Halloween. The next movie that you should be watching this October is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This movie is just cheesy 80s fun. I don't even have to give a synopsis or anything like that, because the title of the movie alone should tell you what you're in for with this movie. And like I said, if you just love fun, cheesy, corny comedy, 80s, just pure aesthetic movies, then this is right down your alley and absolutely a movie that you should be throwing on. The second to last movie that you should be watching this October is the classic A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. Not a whole lot to say about this because, I mean, we know and recognize this movie as a classic, and it's deservingly so. I don't feel like enough people talk about the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise in comparison to some of these other franchises, especially like Scream for some reason. But yeah, no, the original Nightmare is a banger. And for some of these movies that have multiple sequels, I'm saying go ahead and watch the whole franchise if you have time to do it, but bare minimum, you at least watch one from the franchise because I feel like it really goes in well with the whole theme of October and its beautiful horror movies. Which leads us to the very last movie/movies that you should be watching this October, and I'm sure y'all already know what it is because it's the GOAT. Y'all know how we rock him. You should be watching Michael Audrey Myers on your screen on Halloween day/night. No matter what. Like, if bro is not on your screen, then you're doing something wrong. Doesn't matter what timeline you like watching, whether you like to watch 1, 2, H2O and Resurrection, or 1 and then David Gordon Green's trilogy, or if you want to watch like the original timeline that they had, so 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, all of that. Like, I mean, either one is perfectly fine. If anybody's gonna ask me what order you should be watching, then I think that you should just watch pretty much straight through and not really care about what timelines work with what. So watch 1, 2, and if you want to keep it straight, Michael Myers 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, whatever, the whole 9. You just do all those. But don't forget to absolutely throw in Season of the Witch, because Season of the Witch absolutely deserves to be watched as well, because in a lot of the same ways as I talked about with Trick or Treat, Halloween Season of the Witch gives you all those same vibes, and if not better in some aspects. So yeah, this is a banger of a movie. The whole franchise for the most part is banger as movies. So yeah, you absolutely should be watching Halloween amongst all these other movies that I've listed today and the movies that I listed in the first 15. So that is it, Spooky Gang. This is your complete guide to your October watch list. So you have 31 banger horror movies, and if you can end up watching more, hey, more power to you. Y'all get all those horror movies in, drive the vibes up, and really just go out there and enjoy yourself. Spooky Gang, y'all already know how we rock. We're on the road to 10K subs. I'm gonna keep grinding, keep putting out these fun videos talking about all these different horror movies and different aspects to horror movies. Definitely be looking out for a few more videos coming this month. But yeah, Spooky Gang, y'all go ahead and drop down below what you think of some of the movies that are on this list, and what are some of your favorite horror movies to watch during the month of October that really gets you in the mood for the Halloween spirit. So yeah, y'all comment that down below. And yeah, until next time, Spooky Gang, y'all already know how we rock it. Y'all stay blessed and y'all stay spooky.